That's my blueprint. Select, connect, play, imagine, grapple and grow, shine. I give you one quick example, and I intentionally take it not from the world of business, but from the world of childhood. When my son Jack was in the 4th grade, 10 years old, he found in our backyard a stray bird, a parakeet. Brought it inside and he said, "Dad, look, I found a bird." I said, "Oh yeah, I see that, Jack." And he said, "His name is Paris." And I said, "Well, how do you know that?" And he said, "Well, that's his name." Like they'd had a conversation, you know. And we went to Walgreens and got a little cage and brought him home and put him in the cage, and I figured he'd die. He didn't. And Jack goes to school and he gets talking to the shop instructor. Now, Jack wasn't even taking shop, but the shop instructor just had to happen to be one of these managers on the lookout. And they got talking about bird cages. And Jack falls asleep one night and he's got a smile on his face and he says, I said, "What are you smiling about, Jack?" He says, "My bird cage." Well, a month or two goes by and he says, "Dad, you got to come to school today and pick up the bird cage." I say, "Okay." And he says, "And bring the Suburban." I can stand in this bird cage. It is the biggest bird cage I'd ever seen outside of a zoo. And the bird cage came home, and it was probably the best, greatest achievement of Jack that year. Never appear on a transcript, but boy, is it ever in the transcript of his sinews and bones. And you can see those 5 steps there. Jack connected with the bird, fell in love with the bird. Then he goes to school and he connects with the teacher. And the two of them start to play together, start to imagine. And then the teacher did what the manager can do. Expanded Jack's horizon, said, "Think big." And I wish I could have seen Jack's eyes. Really? A birdcage can be that big? He never heard of such a thing. And then they worked together to make it happen. And this is so key, because if you say to people, "Dream big, think big," and it never happens, you have a cynic in the making. But if you say, "Dream big," and then you do whatever needs to be done to make progress toward it happening, then you have a life enthusiast. Then you have someone who buys in. So they worked together, and they indeed created this Taj Mahal of bird cages. And Jack gained in confidence and received recognition. And see, you build a few bird cages, or the metaphorical equivalent thereof. You're hooked on life. You want to keep doing it until you die. You see it happen once or twice. That's it. You want to keep trying it because you know now it's possible. It's hard, it's grueling, it's daunting, but it's possible. And you got to prove it to yourself. You got to have 1 or 2 successes. But then you're unstoppable.